You got new glasses. You look cool.
Yeah, reading glasses or seeing glasses. So eyes glasses.
Yeah, man. I've had mine for a while now. For I think 5 years, and I was going because I like the shape and just the way it looks. And then I can't get the same anymore because the company who makes them are bankrupt. So.
I only wear these ones when I'm on the computer. My eyes get sore after a while, so I don't wear them day to day. But
I am actually. I'm in the process of having my eyes checked for cataracts. Is that what they call it? Yeah, that old man or old age seeing disability.
I hear you.
So unfortunately, it runs in my family. Both my mom and dad and my aunts and uncles. I have an aunt. She was not even 50 when she had the operation.
Okay.
So and like I think a good 5 years ago, maybe even more. The eye doctor told me, Mr. Jensen, you probably have another 5 years until we need to do something. That's well over 5 years ago. So, but now I'm sort of feeling it, particularly when winter comes and it gets dark early. That's oh man, that's I'm not comfortable.
I still reckon it's a con. I reckon my eyes have got worse since I've wore glasses.
That's your eyes are muscles.
Yeah.
So they get lazy. That's the thing. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I can read less small writing now that I've started wearing glasses than I could when I went to get glasses before that.
Yeah. It goes fast. It's literally as soon as you get reading glasses, within a month, it's just because at the beginning you will say, "Oh, nice," and now I can see everything, and then you don't really realize that within a very short period of time, you can only see things sharp when you wear them.
It's like a lot of things like that. I think you often hear people who go to the doctor and get diagnosed with something, critical or terminal, and die a month later. And I often think, if you hadn't went to the doctor, would you have lived longer? You know what I mean? Because once there's that mindset. So I often think, if you hadn't went to the doctor and you had just, I don't know, take some Panadol or, try to numb the pain like some other way, or, would you have actually lived longer? But when because you often hear people who go, like I know a few people who were older than me that went with, had cancer and died a month after they went to the doctor. And you go, well, if you hadn't have went, it's probably wrong. But, it's just one of them things I often think. I think sometimes if you don't know, you just keep going along. But when it's sort of...
It has an effect. It's funny because this morning there's a debate. There's an election coming up in Denmark, and there's a debate, how the money is spent in the healthcare system, and it's always up for debate when there's an election coming. And there were actually some physicians and professional healthcare people. They said, just like you said, in some cases we are over treating. Because literally with old people, with people who are vulnerable, who are not, do not have the physical stamina to undergo a longer treatment, cancer or an operation or whatever. We don't need, what we can do, what we should do is to make life comfortable for these people. Yeah, but, we can't cure them. So why even bother? They didn't say it like that, but it's just, spend the money a little more wisely. They said, up to 30% of all the costs in the healthcare system are just wasted because because the politicians tell them, you have an obligation to do this and this and this. Sure, okay, we can do that, but it won't benefit the patient. So
I could play the devil's advocate and say there's probably obligations from pharmaceutical companies too who are saying, here,
oh yeah,
let's help
yeah, yeah, yeah,
subscribe some more of that, some more of
yeah,
that,
yeah.
some more of that. Like,
Absolutely, absolutely.
it's
So,
like that.
anyways, good to see you again, Mark. It's been a while.
Been a couple of weeks again, 3 weeks maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Time flies,
So,
eh?
yeah, time flies, and we're in the daily treadmill. Anton's motivation for school is non-existent, but I guess you know the drill, how that is.
I do. I
Yeah.
do.
So
Kids,
yeah,
eh? I mean,
yeah,
I
yeah,
guess
yeah.
mine was pretty non-existent too. So I sort of go, yeah, well,
Yeah,
you
that's
need
the
to get
thing.
going.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can in many ways I can see myself, in
Yeah,
Anton. So it's but
most definitely.
you just have to pull him through these years.
Well,
That's just yeah. Anyways, good. Let's have
depends
a
whether
let's
you
have
want to work.
a proper opening today, shall
Yes.
we? Hello and welcome to Southern Summers and Northern Winters. My name is Anders, and on the other side of the planet is Mark. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Anders. Once again.
Mark, Mark, did you realize it's been about a year now since we recorded our first episode?
I did. I think it was maybe September, was it, last year?
No, no,
So it
no.
was, yeah.
It was October. It was
Oh,
in
was it?
October.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So
So
it's
it's been
it's
12
really
months of
yeah.
having a chat most weeks anyway.
Yeah, most weeks. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I'm still trying to gather as much data on audience and stuff. Yeah, I'll have to look further into that and see where we are. But
It is what it is.
it is what it is. We are having fun, and
Yeah, well, that's it. That's it. It's just a couple of mates having a chat, isn't it? So
it is. It is. I'm talking about travel and the world and what's going on in the world we live in. And it's nice to. I always appreciate when I sit down and just reflect every once in a while. It's nice to be able to actually in real in real time to be able to chat with someone on the other side of the planet, isn't it? It's just wow.
it is. Most
You
definitely. So
really couldn't do
it's
that with
morning for you, night for me. Like,
yeah. Yeah,
time goes around, doesn't it?
just before we had Skype or Zoom or whatever, 10, 15 years ago, that wasn't possible. I
It
remember the
wasn't.
first time.
You're correct.
I remember the first time my parents they moved to from Denmark to Greenland in the early 2000s, and my dad he was into IT and stuff, so he bought us all in the family, my sister, my mom, and I. Webcams and downloaded software for us and so that we could chat and we could every once a week or so we would have a video call with each other, and that was huge at the time.
It's amazing where technology's taken us, hasn't it? I remember when the internet came out and there was like Hotmail and ICQ chat, I think it was, to people.
Yeah.
And I remember I used to have to go to the local library. They were the only places that basically had the internet when it first started. So you used to have to go down and book an hour session at the library, and and you could sit on the library computer for nothing and talk to people or look things up or things like that. But yeah, it's sort of hard to imagine that it's become such a big part of everyone's life. I don't know what some people would do anymore without the internet or without mobile phones or things like that, isn't it? Like,
the thing is, now we have it all in our pockets, in our, on our phone, everything, but back then it was a huge thing. It really was. Yes. So anyways, you've been traveling, Mark.
I have. I got back from Bali last week, so I spent 10 days in Bali, and it was blooming hot, I've got to tell you. It was really hot. I've had a cold ever since I come back, so I don't know whether I picked up something while I was there, but that's not here nor there. I just had a bit of a runny nose and feeling a bit run down since I got back, but that might just be because I'm back and not still sitting on a beach drinking a cocktail somewhere
Yeah, that's probably
in
it,
Bali as well.
It's your
Yeah,
self-pity talking.
it was a good trip. We didn't do too much, which was planned. Because, like I said, Bali's probably as close to a holiday as I get. Because when I travel, I generally travel and pack the days and go and see this, that, and everything. But because we've been to Bali so many times, I can sort of just go and relax a bit. Or that's what Rebecca likes to do. It's not really what I like to do because by the end of the 10 days, I was getting a little bit bored with just sitting around doing not too much, and I was getting itchy feet. So I sort of get to the stage at the end and I go, well, we could have went somewhere we hadn't been before and,
Yeah.
actually seen something new. But that's not here nor there. When you've got a wife, you've got to accommodate what they like as well, not just what
Obviously.
you like.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
so that's the sort of.
So were you able to were you able to update your knowledge and are you able to update your content now on the various sites and articles
Well, I
you have
will
on
be
it?
able to update some on my Bali website. To be honest with you, I'm a little bit blasé about my websites at the moment. I haven't really got a
Oh,
great deal of endeavour. Maybe is one word that I should say. I sat there all day yesterday, had a day off. I sat there thinking, okay, I should just sit here and actually write something, write something,
yeah,
write something. But I didn't. I spend more time making videos than anything.
yeah.
I like making videos more, but it also doesn't pay the bills either. So,
No,
but that's life, isn't it? So I actually started a new YouTube channel, and I've got a few YouTube channels floating around that I just play around with. So I started one just about couples travel, so called Street Eats and Window Seats. So I've done about eight or nine videos on. I've had a couple that have had over 1,000 views in the first few. So
wow,
that's
wow.
so that's okay. So I can't complain there. So it's trending all right at this stage. But there's some that's had 40 views, so and a couple
Yeah.
that have had 1,000 views. So that's really hard to
See,
get
that's
it.
yeah, that's the thing I wanted to talk to you about because we can have this on our podcast as well because it's relevant, because what we do is that we talk and write and film about traveling. And in this day and age, people talk about AI and AI taking over. And I guess
Yeah.
in many ways that's true. But I don't you think, because that's what I've come to. I do music as well, and I've seen a lot of videos about music creation being taken over by AI and video creation the same and stuff. But there is nothing behind an AI generated piece of content that
No.
I as a person can relate to. I sort of need to know. Maybe that's just me talking. That's why I'm asking you. But me, I need to feel that there's a human being in the other end, and this is a story told by a human
Yeah.
being. So I hope. Well, first question: do you feel the same way, or, or
Yeah,
don't
I
you?
do.
Yeah,
I think because of that, video is more front and center than it's possibly ever been. And I think in order these days to have maybe a successful channel, you've got to be in front of the camera a lot of the
yeah,
time. I
yeah,
think, gone are the days where you can make a travel video that goes for 10 minutes and do a voiceover for a few minutes and appear in it for a minute. You need to be in it 70% of the time actually
yeah,
talking, because I think it's all about recognition. So people need to recognize you as the person and relate to you in order to go along with your journey as such. You know what I mean? Like you need
yeah,
to, and if they don't know who you are, and they're not really invested unless you're front and center and they can get a sense of what you like and what your personality's like and what you like to see, and hopefully that
yeah,
relates to what they like to see. Like I got too rolled up for a long time when I first started the Wild Family Travel Channel and trying to make videos and thinking that I was like, Lonely Planet or something like that.
yeah,
And I would edit I would edit all the mistakes and not the mistakes, just all the bits that I didn't think sounded, possibly professional and things like that. And I think they're the bits that actually now resonate with people and let people
Yeah.
know that, that you're real and not, and you're not just AI generated or you're not just something that's been created off the computer. So I've
Yeah.
sort of turned a focus to doing it that way, like all the all the video covers have me and Beck on it. I do shorts for the channel on YouTube, and all of them have got either my face or her face on the cover of them,
Yeah.
and things like that. Like, so it's really just experimenting with, I guess, with trying to grow an audience that sort of relates to you a little bit more and sticks around to come back and watch more of
Yeah.
what you're doing, and not just come and find the one movie on the one topic and then never come back again. So trying to be
Exactly.
a little bit, I wouldn't say a little bit funny, but a little bit real, and sort of put
Yeah.
what we're like, and we
Exactly.
pick shit at each other at times, and we argue and we fight and we disagree on things, and
Yeah.
that's life as a couple who travels, as we said before. It's not
Absolutely.
all
It's
about one person. It's about both. So we make fun of each other in some of these videos and things like that, and that's, I mean, I do that on purpose not on purpose, but I try and capture their moments, or if we do that, then I try and refilm that moment just
yeah.
because that's, I think it adds, a little bit of fun and relatability, I think,
Absolutely.
to some people. So,
You said it
so
right
I'm
there.
slowly, and that's what you need to
Relatability.
be.
Yeah. Yeah.
You need to be
Absolutely.
relatable. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
and
I've
you
that.
really need to grow your audience that
Yeah.
way organically, for them to come back and want to follow you, because I pretty much monetized the other channel, but I paid to get it monetized in some ways. Like, I paid for YouTube advertising to push
Oh,
some of the video to get over the line, which is okay. YouTube want your money and they're happy to push it, but they don't necessarily push it to the audience that are going to be, I think, invested in what you're doing. So you might gain a ton of followers and you might gain a ton of likes, but they're not the followers that are going to keep coming back to you. So on purpose, I haven't done a YouTube channel. I haven't done a Facebook page. I haven't told anyone to go and watch any videos or anything like that, which is what I used to do. I say to everyone I knew, look, I've got a new channel, go and watch them,
yeah.
because I want the algorithm on Facebook to try and develop the audience
Yeah.
organically, so that it's something that they're actually interested in and they find it, instead of, because if you got your friends, they just watch it once and then it becomes like a follower that YouTube has sent to you. They don't come
Yeah.
back. So
No.
So it's I'm just trying to go the hard way about it, and hopefully, people will find it and follow it naturally. Hopefully, but
I read somewhere that Facebook, it's done. It's not the place to build a business anymore. It's because, and it's the same thing with YouTube. YouTube is still the place to be, but the problem with YouTube is that they can change the algorithm. I don't know if there's actually a person sitting there deciding to change something, or it just happens. But you have the feeling that it's not supposed to be too much of an income for people. They if you become too big and you have a substantial income, then they change the algorithm, and then they can get out of pain. Yeah. That's kind of the feeling you get. It's the same thing with Spotify with music. Same thing, with all the big platforms where content is king, and you as a creator, you're just trying to get ahead of the curve, and it's just not possible. It's just not possible.
No, it's not, and and because everything changes so much, it sort of just becomes a bit of a rat race at times, especially when you've got an older channel and an older page like my Wild Family Travel page. Back in the day, it was all about getting as many numbers as you could, and there was a lot of blogger threads where there was like follow for follow. You follow me, I'll follow you.
Oh yeah.
Sort of stuff like that to build your numbers, which then goes back to what I said before. They're just the false economy, really. Like, because a lot of them people running in it to boost their own numbers, so no one actually comes back to your page.
No.
I could safely say that on our Facebook page, like we've got maybe 6,000 followers, but out of anyone that comments and likes, I reckon I could see the same maybe 100 people all the time, that roll through it. So there's 5,500 people that never actually see anything on my page, or if they do, they don't like it.
I'm a top fan on your page.
Yeah, or they don't comment. So you go, well, and that was, like I said, it's built on false numbers, because other bloggers, would say, yeah, I need a like, you like, I like, you like, I like, so it goes, it goes back and forth. And, there was a time when that worked. Like there was a big trend on Instagram where there was follow and unfollow, and that tricked the algorithm. If you followed 10 people and then unfollowed 15 people, it would boost your numbers. It'd show your account to a lot of other people at some stage. So it goes through all these different algorithm changes and trends, and you just got to be really lucky. Basically, I don't think there's anything more to it. All that, unless you got a good body and you walk around in a bikini, and then you're probably 50% more likely to succeed.
Yeah, that's always good. But I am a genuine top fan of your page, Mark. So But have you noticed that because that's really, really annoying me when I watch YouTube these days. There are all these videos, 12, 15, 20 minutes long, and they literally spend 85% of the time going all the way back through history, and then if it's about a musical person like Paul McCartney or something, they will quickly say, in order to understand this current situation, we need to go all the way back to Paul's childhood, back in Liverpool. And then they spend the next 15 minutes, through the Beatles, and then the last 2 minutes, what's in the clickbait headline is maybe mentioned,
Because the longer you watch, the more ads they can feed up, and the more advertising revenue that the creator makes.
Like that, yeah. Basically. So it is actually because of the algorithm, the content is getting shittier and shittier. Really, it's just because people try to trick the algorithm, and it's just the user experience really suck sometimes. I really sit there and say, I don't need to see these first 15 minutes. I know everything about that. I just want to see the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's it. And a lot of them ones are well, not necessarily them ones, but historic ones or about things like that are often AI generated, a lot of it, because they show the same picture about 5 or 6 times through the video, and things like that. So
it would be just like if you were making a video of Bali, and then you in order to understand the situation in Bali, we need to understand the whole democratic situation in Indonesia. It goes way back to 1800 something. And come on, that's not relevant.
No,
not in this context. Not in this context.
It's not relevant. You're right. You just got to, I don't know. There's a lot of thought put into what you're creating these days. I think if you want to create something that's relevant, I think in the end on YouTube, because there's so much crap.
I still genuinely believe that content is king, and if you as we said, if you're relatable and if you really mean what you say, and you put some heart and soul into your content, I think it will shine through. I know it will, because that's what I relate. There are a couple of channels that I've started to follow. A lady who's traveling on cruise ships and reviewing cruise ships, and another one reviewing hotels. It's a nice, relatable couple out of Surrey, England, and they're just good. Yeah. They're nice people. You can, they're what do you say, affable? They're just generally empathetic, and that speaks
that's the
to
big
me.
thing. You've got to be able to relate to people. If you don't relate to that person, you won't watch it. Like my wife's picky, so we'll watch a YouTube video, and within the first minute, she'll go, "No, I don't like these guys."
I don't like
within
them.
a minute. You go, okay, it doesn't matter what they're talking about. I don't like them. I don't like I don't like their pretense, and what they're
Yeah.
what they're
No,
about. So okay, that's us.
that's the thing, and maybe that's also a good thing because there will always be content just for you. I mean, there will always be.
Yeah,
That's a good thing about YouTube because no matter your interest, I mean,
yeah.
I haven't been able to type in any word that didn't respond with some kind of context. I mean, whether you're
No,
into a model railways, whatever it could be, Christmas decor, or I don't know. There's always a video popping up.
you should start making travel videos again. I still like your videos that you made a few years back there when you were making.
Yeah,
They were
yeah.
really good.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. I might do that because we're actually going to Prague in 10
Prague,
days. Prague.
Prague would be a
In,
great place to make a video.
yeah, it really would
You know
because it's a
what?
nice city. It's a nice city.
It's a nice city, and you know what? People want to know prices and things like that these days, and all
Yeah,
that sort of stuff really resonates. Okay, I went out to this pub and this is how much my meal cost, and all that
yeah,
sort of stuff. I think that's what people really, really want to know about,
yeah,
or how do I get to here? Was it expensive? Just the practical things, you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like going to a hotel, going, yeah, this joint's beautiful. It's got a big pool. Look at the rooms; they're lovely, but people want to know how much that room cost you, and what was the room like? What was the hotel like? Were the staff friendly?
yeah.
Were the staff terrible? I had this conversation actually online today or yesterday with someone going back to Bali. We stayed a couple of different joints. So we stayed in a $30 a night place
Yeah,
and we stayed in a $190 a night place. And in reality, I would have preferred to have stayed in the $30 a night place for longer
really?
because I'm under the impression that the more you pay, the less friendly the clientele are at a dearer hotel because people are just, I think I shouldn't say this in general, people with more money I don't think are inclined to engage with other people. So I think the dearer the accommodation is, the less engagement you have with possibly other people at that hotel, whereas at cheaper accommodation, I think you find more affable and friendly people who want to have a chat and things like that. That's just a theory I've been running on for the last while because we generally stay at more cheaper places than expensive places, and I'm always talking to people. But when I pay a lot of money, I'm not talking to anyone.
You know what? I haven't thought of that before, but now that you mention it, I'm inclined to agree with you. There's some truth to this. There
Yeah,
is. Yeah. No, I'm
that's
I'm
why.
sorry, but there is.
Yeah, there is definitely
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with that. If you're paying a lot of money, you might want to have that experience where you just want to have that experience. You don't want to be talking to people. You might just want to go and sit by the pool by yourself in quiet, drink a beer or a cocktail beside the pool, go have your dinner at the resort restaurant, and just be in the moment with yourself and your experience. And that's
Yeah.
and that's fine. But I enjoy maybe going to the pool or going to a bar and talking to people who are at the pool bar or things like that. And I find it's much easier, when you're in a cheaper place because I think there's more real people who want to engage. And I've come across this a few times in Bali. We've stayed at some deer joints up to $250 a night, and like I said, I've stayed at some places that are $30 a night and less. And yeah, the cheaper they are. I mean, there's a lot of Australians there, so Australians like a chat, but generally I can measure the clientele if you get in the pool and you go to the pool bar and there's people there and there's people talking or there's people just sitting there
Yeah.
saying nothing.
But
That's
it really comes down to what type of traveler you are.
yeah, definitely.
I am probably the cheaper traveler in terms of
Yeah,
engagement. I do love to engage with other people when I
yeah,
meet them
most definitely.
whilst traveling. Of course, that's the whole purpose for me.
Yeah,
For other people, the purpose of traveling is to just have some peace and quiet and be left alone
yep.
at the poolside. Okay, fine.
We met a nice couple from Cologne at the pool bar. They'd flown to Bali for what they say. They went to Singapore for 2 nights and spent 8 nights in Bali, and then they were flying back to Cologne. Young couple. They were quite friendly. At the we had a couple of words with them for a few minutes as we were all drinking cocktails. So that
Yeah,
was nice. We met another Australian couple around the pool, sat there and talked to them for a couple of hours, and so it's quite nice to. It's quite nice to meet people when you're traveling, especially if there's only like two of you. Like if there's only you and your wife,
Yeah.
or me and my
Yeah.
wife. Like it's different if you're traveling with some friends or a group where you've got other people to talk to. Not
Or
saying that
you
it
have
gets
small
boring.
kids you need to attend to. That
Yeah.
can also be a disturbance in that
Not saying it
context.
gets boring talking to your wife all the time, but you know what I mean. Like it's nice to talk to other people, and
Yeah.
the ultimate place to talk to other people is when you stay at a caravan park. Really, like
Oh yeah.
they're some of the most social places that you'll ever come across is at a caravan park in Australia, or wherever you're going, because everyone ends up at like the camp kitchen, or the
Yeah.
pool, or something like that. So I really enjoy that sort of
Me too.
interaction
That
when you can have it.
Yeah. I was just about to mention this because that's really one of the highlights of our traveling around the world like 12 years ago. That was the caravan parks in New Zealand and Australia. They were really, really nice, and it was so nice to just meet people. They were so engaging, and particularly because we came from Europe, and in Australia and New Zealand, they do get overseas tourists, obviously, but apparently we're not that common. I mean, on the campsites, I don't know, but it was just they say, "Oh, it's so nice to talk to people from overseas, from Europe." It's,
Yeah.
So that was a nice
Australians
thing.
are always interested. I think because we're so isolated from the rest of the world, we're always interested in what the rest of the world is like, especially because a lot of
Yeah,
Australians don't travel because we're so far away from it,
yeah,
and caravan parking and travelling that way is a big industry in Australia, and that's all a lot of people do is go in their caravan and go to their camp park, or do a little bit of a few months travel here or there up the coast in their caravans, and never go out of the country in the end. So yeah, most Australians I know are always interested in people from other countries, and what's it like where you live,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
because that's what we talk a lot about, don't we? Like,
yeah.
what's it like? You
Exactly.
often say,
It's
ask things about what it's like in Germany. You ask things about
Yeah,
Australia, because everyone's generally interested in the differences between
yeah.
countries and cultures and societies, I think.
And that's true. I mean, and the funny thing is, Australians, because obviously Australia is expensive. So it's funny to think that many Australians they don't go overseas or travel internationally. They could actually save some money doing that.
They
But
could. I think it's a perception that's actually pretty wrong. Like,
yeah, but I guess
you know,
if you have invested in a caravan or camper van
yeah,
or whatever you go, and you have that, then you can
yeah.
actually, travel domestically
But it's not even cheap
somewhat.
anymore to stay in a caravan park. Like it costs you $80 a night in a caravan park these
Really?
days for a
Wow.
caravan. Yeah, 80,
Wow.
80 to $100 a night, like to park your
Wow.
van. Like, so it's not even that economical. And by the time you chuck petrol into, you need to buy like
Yeah.
a full drive, or a Land Cruiser or a Range Rover, or something that's big and bulky with the engine power to tow your van for a start. So
Yeah.
and then you buy the van. So you're looking at least $100,000 investment to buy a
Yes.
van and a car big enough to tow that van to start
Yeah.
off with, and then you'll find that most people buy them and their caravan sits in their driveway for 50 weeks out of 52 weeks of the
That's
year,
true.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
True.
and it goes nowhere. Like, for instance, like I said, I stayed in a place that was $30 a night. I stayed in a place that was $60 a night. I stayed in a place that was $80 a night, and I stayed in a place that was $160 a night while we're in Bali. And the two cheapest places were the two places I'd have preferred to have stayed at
Yeah.
out of all of them. So if you can get away with $30 to $60 a night Australian, that's like 25 euros or something
Yeah.
like
That's
that a
nothing.
night, 30
It's
euros
nothing.
a
You you
night,
you you
nothing.
you, you go.
Eat locally in Bali. We could go out for tea, have 2 meals, 2 Cokes. It was costing maybe $15 Australian, so 7
Yeah.
euros or something like that. So I don't think we spent much more than $100 any day we were there, and that would include going to happy hour every night while
Yeah, wow.
we were having maybe 2 or 3 cocktails each. Like a cocktail at happy hour was $5 Australian, so €250 for a cocktail, every night each. So, which is, I'd say, is on the pretty cheap side. I don't know how much cocktails are in Europe these days if you go to a bar or a restaurant, but I'm assuming they're at least €10 or more.
Yeah, no, it's wow, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to calibrate for my head because in Europe you can go nowhere for
Yeah, no,
this money, nowhere. You
pretty
get
much.
nothing.
Like, yeah, I went to a couple of deer places for tea, and even the dearest place we went to a place called the Brazilian Aussie Barbecue, which is all you can eat meat. They cook it on a rotisserie, and they just keep bringing it around, slicing it off the
Yeah.
rotisserie for you as you want it. So it's all you can eat, pork, beef, whatever they're cooking, whatever they got going on, and there's like a salad bar that also has like macaroni and cheese and pasta and all this sort of stuff. So as much as you can eat. And I think that was the dearest meal we had. And that was, I think, 800,000 rupiah. So it was about $75 Australian. So that would be maybe about €37 for 2 people for as much meat as you can eat. And we had 4 cans of Coke. So we had two cans of Diet Coke each. Yeah. So still for like $75 Australian, it would cost me that just to go to the local pub where I'd have to have like a chicken parm or something like that. I'm not having ribeye and beef rib and stuff like that cut off the skewer. So that was probably the dearest place we went to.
And the 75 Australian dollars was for 2 people.
Yep. For 2 people, yes.
Wow. Yeah. So if you think of the per person cost, that's nothing.
Yeah, that's it. So it's probably under €20 a person. Like,
yeah, that's
go
just
and
crazy.
Sit there. Yeah, and you can stay there as long as you like. Like they just keep. They've got a big, like a chicken rotisserie, but it's a meat rotisserie. So they've got like 4 or 5 different types of meat cooking at once. Yeah, and they just bring it around on the long stick like that and bring it over to your plate and say, "Do you want some more?" And you go, "Yep." And they just put it on your plate and like cut it off like a kebab meat and just slice it on your plate and off they go. And whenever they come back again with something else. And yeah, so we'd been there before and yeah, it was quite nice. So we went back again. We went there last time in Bali.
Did they recognize you?
No, it had been a while since we were it had been last April, but we went back to so we basically try and eat at local places as much as we can. I've just got a heap of receipts here. I'm just looking for one that'll give me because I've been doing some tax from when we were away.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a bill from from this joint. Where are we? So even when we decided to go and eat something that wasn't Balinese, we still went to a little place called Lila Sanur. It's like a wurrung. So a wurrung's a local restaurant. So I had a fresh coconut water, which was 20,000 rupiah. So it's $1.80 Australian. Rebecca had a lemon iced tea, which is also $1.80 Australian. And I had some Swedish meatballs with mashed potato and gravy. And that was 80,000 rupiah, so it was about $3.80 Australian, or about €1.90. Like,
wow.
And Rebecca had this chicken Zurich style, which was a chicken fillet with some sort of creamy mushroom sauce, and it was only 70,000, which is about $3 Australian, or about €1.50. So, and the food was So you can definitely go to Bali and do it as cheap as you want, or as dear as you want.
So the cheaper restaurants, they're still. I'm just assuming that they're still nice because you want to go there, and
definitely.
The international people, international clientele.
Well, this place here that I was just telling you about, actually, it was full of Europeans, basically.
Oh, okay.
And expats, mainly a lot of Europeans in Sanur where we go, because it's a bit of it, like I said, it's an older crowd. So there's definitely a lot of Poms, a lot of British and a lot of Germans floating around there. And and people seem to be able to hunt out where there's good value meals to be had, and yeah, you just go there, and so I think locally you'd be lucky to spend more than $30 Australian between two people, so that's €15,
Yeah.
for two mains and a couple of drinks. So yeah, so it's pretty cheap. Pretty cheap, I must say.
Is there have you been to a place where you eat like the locals? So local
Yeah,
cuisine and
I have, because we have a driver in Bali. I don't know, for people who've been to Asia, there's not just taxis, there's local drivers
yeah,
who take you around or pick you up or
yeah.
take you wherever. So you just negotiate a price with them. So we've been using this driver called Putu since 2019. So
Oh,
he's our
nice.
driver. So whenever we go to Bali, he picks us up from the airport, and we often hire him for a day here and there, and we'll go. This time we went up the mountains and watched sunrise over a volcano and a lake. So we took him, he took us up there, and then we often say to him, take us to somewhere local that like you eat and things like that. And we went to this place that serves what they call barbiguling, which is like suckling roasted pig. And it's a specialty around the Ubud area, so in the hills around this certain area in Bali. So we went there, and you got like a big size plate. You probably get more salad, and because they eat meat, but they don't. It's not a large proportion. So it's probably 20% of the plate was meat. And there was a rice
Okay.
dish
Yep.
and
Yeah.
all this other stuff. But it was like, I think about $2.50 for the plate of it, because it was where locals eat. There would be there was no other foreigners there except us, so we stood out like a sore thumb. But yeah, so there's plenty of these little places that you can walk into where there's this locals eating, and they've got to have them, because they've got to be able to afford it, because the wages are pretty meager
Yeah.
in Bali. A lot of these people working in hotels are working for $5 an hour and things like that, so they can't
Yeah.
afford to go and eat at a lot of the places where everyone else eats. So even the guys that drive the cars, like my friend, so you can hire a driver for, I don't know, maybe 8 hours. He supplies the car, he supplies the petrol, and they charge like maybe $70, €35 for the day. Like that's all
That's
that's all
cheap.
they charge. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, and it cost me that to catch a taxi to the nearest town here, 20 kilometres away. Like,
Yeah.
without driving you around all day. Like, we buy lunch and breakfast and coffee and stuff like that, because that's the right thing to do when you hire these guys. And
Yeah, of
we have
course.
a bit more of a personal relationship with him. Like, we take me out for tea, and he was in Sanur one night with some other clients when we were there, and he said what he was doing, and I said come down, and so we went and played some pool and had a couple of beers and had a
Yeah.
yak and things like that. And
Yeah.
so it's good. But yeah, so I don't know. Bali's a good destination. It's a long way away from Europe, obviously, but it doesn't seem to stop lots of Europeans going there, put it that way. So
No, I know a lot of, I know a lot of people who have been to Bali. I've never been myself, but that's
yeah,
on my to-do list. But yeah, no, it is a place also for Europeans, and as you said, you met Europeans there.
yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, it's a bit of a stretch, airplane wise. It's probably
yes.
good 15 hours.
Be 14, 15 hours, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. Most
yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
stop over in Singapore probably on the way, or somewhere
yeah,
like that,
yeah, that
or
would
Kuala
be
Lumpur, or
Doha,
or
maybe. I don't know,
yeah,
but
Doha possibly.
yeah,
Like, I see Turkish Airlines fly there quite a bit. They were on the board a few times when we were leaving the other night. They were flying back to. There was two flights going to Istanbul, I think, about 4 hours apart. So
wow, yeah,
so
yeah,
they're
yeah,
big in on the Bali market.
yeah.
Turkish Airlines. They got a pretty good reputation, I think. I've never flown them, but I know they're pretty.
What are you saying? Turkish Airlines? Yeah,
Yeah, they're pretty popular.
they have a good reputation. Yeah, that's true. That's
I know
true.
they fly out of Melbourne and Sydney now, like every day or every second day or something like that as
Yeah,
well. They're not that cheap. I've never come across them having a really cheap fare, but hey,
yeah,
that's life. You pay for what you get sometimes. So
yeah. You do. You do.
Sometimes you pay and still don't get it.
True. True. Yeah. So
So,
yeah. So how is the things with Willow? She's supposed to come back, right? Soon.
yeah, should be ready to come back in 3 months. 3 months time.
It was okay. Yeah, I got the timing wrong there. I thought it was just
Yeah, no, it's all right.
imminent.
Nah, first of February, I think
Okay. Yeah.
she's due back. So she was helping the people that she worked for interview another nanny the other day because they're going to get someone else when she leaves. So they're getting a girl from New Zealand apparently to take over. But they did tell her, if you ever want to come back, just give us 2 months' notice and we'll sack the next person and you can come back. So
it's always nice to hear that, isn't
yeah.
it? It's always nice to have.
It is
On the rare occasion that I have heard that in my life. It's always nice.
It is, isn't it? So yeah. So we'll see. I reckon she'll eventually end up back there, but that's another story. She'll come back here and go, oh, what did I come back for? And
yeah, of course. I mean, and if she's good at the language, there's job opportunities, everywhere because we're not.
There's plenty of job opportunities, I would think, for her. So what was I going to say? Now I've lost my train of thought. I had something going through my mind that's now gone in that ear, and straight out that ear. I think it.
So I'm planning I'm just starting to think about the Prague trip here. We got my son Anton and we got the trip from Alex last Christmas, I think. And she already booked the accommodation, which it's not the original accommodation that we booked because it's Airbnb and they canceled on us, which is annoying. But we got another accommodation, I think even nicer actually. But I'm always a little wary in terms of Airbnb these days because you never know if they cancel last minute. That's just a thing, and I'm just starting to get it because we got a traveler's guide, sort of as a symbol for to put under the tree, and so I'm starting to read that now. And I've been there like 2 times. The first time was before the Berlin Wall fell. That was in the old communist days. So that was a bit of an experience. It was with my high school class. So yeah, that was a bit like traveling back 30 years in time back then, and that's like 30 years ago now. So it was really a cultural difference. And then I was there like 25 years ago, with traveling for work, and ever since I haven't been. So I know that because my mom went there last year, and she said, it's gotten pretty expensive. It's not as cheap as
hasn't everywhere.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it because the local cuisine is nice. It's bohemian and it's rather heavy on meat. As you know, you've been there. And
love a bit of goulash with a potato pancake under it.
Absolutely, yeah. I love that. I love that stuff because it's hearty. It's comfort food, it's what you need in the winter, in the fall, and it's wow, it's really.
It is.
We had the same experience.
Such a beautiful town, though, Prague. Like it
is.
The architecture's stunning. So, like, I think I've been to Prague 3 times, but I've never been there long on any of the. I can't actually remember how long I was there the first time. It was the first trip, one of the first trips we made overseas when Willow was 10 months old. I think we might have only been there for like 3 nights or something, and the 2 subsequent trips after that were one was only for 1 night because we were going from Germany to Poland, so we stopped there for I think 1 night and went to a Christmas market and left the next day, and then I went back there 2023 and I think I was there for maybe 3 nights or 2 nights again. So I haven't stayed there for a long time, but actually we stayed on a houseboat when we were there in 2023. That was interesting.
Wow, yeah. I think I remember you posted a couple of things from there.
Yeah, so it wasn't on the main river though. It was on was on like a little branch that came off the river somewhere. So it was quite a nice little area. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I've never stayed on a houseboat anywhere else. So
Yeah, but you're right. The architecture is striking, and it's just
yeah,
it's I want to say so authentic, historic European architecture. Because
yeah,
it wasn't as heavily bombed as
no,
most cities in Germany were during the Second World War. So there's still some authenticity there. It's still some original buildings and architecture that
yeah.
even survived
I'd
communism.
like to see more places in the Czech Republic. Like I've been to Prague. I've been to Pilsen.
Yeah.
I went there because
Bruno, have you been there?
I've never been to. I've been through it.
Yeah.
Because funnily enough, I've driven from Germany to Poland a few times and driven through the Czech Republic, and I've driven from Poland to Austria twice as well and driven through the Czech Republic.
Oh, yeah.
Only having stopped at some roadhouses on most of these occasions. But we went to Pilsen, and Pilsen was really nice when we went there. We had there at Christmas time, and they had a actually just after we seen you last when we went from Munich,
Yeah.
and we were going to Berlin, but we cut through Czech on the way straight up from Munich instead of going around it to Nuremberg. We went that way and through Pilsen. So yeah, I quite liked Pilsen. We only stayed there 2 nights as well, but they had the Christmas market was beautiful. Like there was no tourists. It was really local and authentic when we happened to go there. And I like beer, so I went to Pilsner Urquell, I think it is, or Urquell or whatever.
That's what you have
is.
to. Yeah, I mean,
so I quite enjoyed that. And there's a lot of nice, castles are a dime a dozen for people that don't live in Europe, but for people who live in Europe, but for people who don't live in Europe who love a good castle, there's a lot of nice castles in the Czech Republic too. We went to one just outside of Prague called Karlstein Castle, I think it was called, and it was really nice as well. So I've quite enjoyed the times we've gone to the Czech Republic. And
because you say you're driving through the Czech Republic for people who might be doing the same thing. How's the infrastructure of the highways and stuff maybe compared to Germany? Are they?
Yeah, I think the highways weren't too bad. You've got to watch out about getting ripped off though with the highway crucette or the highway toll, as they call it in the Czech Republic. So you're meant to stop at the very first service station that you come across after you cross the border into the Czech Republic, no matter what area you're coming from.
To get like a stamp or mark for your window, right?
On your windscreen to say that you've paid the highway toll. And there's a long running scam where you pull up and there's like these booths in the car park, but they're actually not the official booths. They sell the official ticket, but they mark it up by about 50%, and that's a scam. You have to actually walk over to the actual services area that's there, and they might have like a little vending machine on the wall of the service station around the back near the toilets that actually sell the official crucette that's only half the price. So it's sort of all tied in. It's like tied in with politicians. It's a little bit backhanded, and there'd be people getting kickbacks from these stands that are selling the marked up ones that people think are original. And I went and bought one there too because you think that's. It was only till I watched this video on this guy from Prague, and he walks around Prague. I'll have a look for this later, and I'll send you the link. He walks around Prague, exposing all the scams in Prague.
Yeah,
so that tourists don't get caught. With different bits and pieces that go on in.
Oh, that's
in Prague.
Do send me that. We're traveling with Flixbus, so we're driving with a bus. So we're not paying for the highway or anything. But still in Prague, when we're in Prague, it's good to avoid the scams, obviously.
Yeah, like he goes and chases down, restaurants that are selling not what they're meant to be selling, and tour guides that are overcharging, and all this sort of rubbish. And so he's actually quite good. So I've watched him for a few years now, but I will definitely go and find him and send you the link. Like he goes, watching one the other day where they were selling, beer that was meant to be Pils Urquell out of the tap at this restaurant, and they're selling it by the litre and they're charging, 10 or 12 euros. But he actually caught him pouring it out of like a $2 cheap bottle of plastic beer into these cups, and then selling it as the marked up prices, and things like that. So, all these dodgy things that are going on. But I mean, that's not just local to Prague. I wouldn't think that happens sort of everywhere, but he's based in Prague, so
it probably happens all over the world. Really, I know it does.
Yeah, most definitely.
It just but a good rule of thumb, like if you go where the locals go, if you can go where the locals go. Because it doesn't work with the locals, these scams. They so for instance, what I always recommend in Germany for people if they want to go to a nice Gasthof or Bierstuben or whatever, I recommend something where I know the locals are, and they will always have good beer and a good meal. I want to say at an affordable price, but that's relative here in Germany. but
days is gone.
Yeah, but still, that you at least you're not getting ripped off. For instance, in downtown, you've been there in Thal, in the central area of Munich. There are one beer hall after the other, and they are all overpriced. They may even be from respected breweries, but in that particular street, on that particular area, they're just overpriced. You pay like I want to say 50% extra per meal, and also a little bit extra on the beer. But meals are certainly where they make the highest markup.
Definitely.
And it's just you won't see any locals there. The locals avoid this.
So that's where Hofbrau House is, in that area there. Is that where you're talking?
Yeah. Hofbrau House. The big main house is actually, because it's owned by the state of Bavaria.
It's okay.
It's expensive, but the beer is not that expensive. I went there recently, actually, and I was surprised it wasn't more expensive. I didn't eat there. I only had a beer. I didn't eat there, but I saw the prices, and I said to Alex, I actually thought it was more expensive.
It was reasonable.
Yeah. So but the other private breweries, they will, they will charge whatever they feel like in that area.
Charge whatever they like.
Yeah. So we're looking forward. We're looking forward. We will be here next week, so we can do another episode before we go, and I'll tell you how far I've gotten in terms of the prepreparation.
Sounds good.
But if it's anything like it usually is, it's just we don't get to, because we travel on a Sunday. We go from a Sunday to the following Friday, so we are away for 5 nights, and that's actually we avoid the Friday Saturday, Friday Saturday crowds and
well, that'd be good.
It's probably where we are in our lives at the moment. We just
nothing wrong with that. I can tell you.
That's exactly right.
Nothing wrong with being in bed early and just going when there's not many people there, is there?
Yeah, exactly. And we the things we want to see. Anton is into history, and we want to see historic places, and there's plenty of that in Prague, I know. It's we don't want to hang out in bars and nightclubs and stuff anyway. The accommodation has a certain overnight stay, and it tends to rise at the weekend.
They all do that. Like I just found that out myself. I was just I'd booked a hotel in Kuala Lumpur, and then I wanted to change the dates. So I paid it was a 2-bedroom apartment, and I paid like $380 Australian for 4 nights. So it was about $90 a night, 45 euros a night or something. And that was from a Monday to a Friday.
Yeah.
But then I changed my mind. I want to go Saturday. And Saturday through to the Friday. So to add an extra 2 nights was dearer than the 4 nights that I had booked book during the week.
Yep.
And actually, it was even dearer if I went onto booking.com and I said, you change the dates. Like, Booking will give you the option to change the dates. So when I put in change the date totally from the Saturday through to the Friday, it was actually something like $820. So it was $440.
Yeah.
But if I then went back to Booking and just booked the 2 days separately and kept the other 4 days, it was only $260. So there's a little trick. Never just change all the dates. See if you can make up the dates. So when we go there, I'll just email them and say, hey, I've got 2 bookings in exactly the same room over 6 days. Can we stay in the same room without changing rooms after the first 2 days? But that actually saved me $160 by booking it just for 2 nights separately instead of changing the whole booking to 6 nights.
And you know what? That's the thing about, booking.com, probably more Airbnb, I don't know. But, for like accommodation in a flat, what they typically will do is that once you get close to the date, they see what they can charge.
Yeah.
Sorry. And then they might cancel on you and to up the rates for another customer.
Yeah. So we'll see anyway. Once we get to Kuala Lumpur, we'll see what happens. But that's not for 3 months. So I've got to go to work for a few months now and get some holiday pay back up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Mark, it's been a pleasure as always. We'll get this episode here up in the air, and I'll talk to you next week.
You will. I will see you next week, mate. Say good day to the family, and
I will.
We'll chat next Monday or Tuesday night, whenever you're free.
Yeah, exactly. We'll chat about that. Okay, bye.
Bye.